like to call to order the regular council meeting of Monday, March the 12th, 2018. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Merrill?
Present.
Mr. Steigel, I do not believe he's going to be here. Mr. Arcuri? Here. Mr. Berquist?
Here.
Mr. Lewis? Here. Mr. Ball?
Present.
Mr. Kozer?
Here.
We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind everyone to set their cell phones on stun. Moving along with the agenda, approval of the minutes of
Motion
the
to
regular council
approve.
meeting, February 26th. Second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That carries, I guess, 6-0. Special reports tonight. We do have one. This is in regard to the renovation of the firehouse station where Meals on Wheels used to reside. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Lau.
And actually, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Coyle. What we have projected up there is the architectural drawing for the space that was formerly the social hall.
Okay, one of the key points is right here is a training area. We never had an area to provide training that was handicap accessible. We've laid this space out. This is an existing wall. And what we try to do in this is leave a lot of the existing walls there. But for this area, that is all existing wall. These walls will be put up this will be a conference room, and then this will be where the firefighters work out of, and also the fire prevention and inspection people will also work out of this area. These are existing offices. This will be a chief's office, an assistant chief's office, and then this is going to be a volunteer office. When we're trying to encourage a lot of the volunteers to come in and work in their shifts, and they can come in and actually, we do have some people that work out from home, and they can actually use this as an office to work from home. This is an old closet area that we are putting out into the Emergency Operations Center. That's one thing that we've been talking about for years and years and years, is having an Emergency Operations Center, which in fact we'll finally be able to have this area here. This is the existing kitchen. We're going to try to leave as much as that. It'll just be an area that everyone, can have dinner and lunch and things there at the station. The bathrooms are pretty much staying the same. They're opening the one up a little bit, and there was a women's and a men's bathroom up here, so that's pretty much remaining the same. A lot of the doorways and things are all staying the same. This is one down into the garage area. That's an existing stairwell. One big thing is right now, if you're down in the garage to get upstairs to the area that we're going to show you in a minute, there's actually a one-story transition. So this area here, we are going to work on getting that enclosed. So from here, you'll directly be able to go into here and then up one flight, and then you would be upstairs in the area which will have the locker rooms and everything else available for the firefighters.
So all the work that Dan is showing us here, our intention is to send this out to bid and have a contractor perform this work. The additional work on the building is actually going to be done by Township employees, either from the fire department and the public works department. So why don't you go ahead?
This is the second floor. Go ahead, Mike. You want to go through it?
This is the space that the volunteer fire department built in 1996, sorry. And this is the space that's above the ladder truck. So the three phases of the building, this is the highest, most point. There's an existing kitchen. This area over here currently serves as our training / eating room.
slash workout room as well. This is currently the physical fitness area, and then there's a bunk room here as well. What this will do will create a men's and women's bunk facility and a shower area. So this existing portion here will become the women's bunk facility connected to the women's room. This existing fitness area will become a sleeping area for the male firefighters that lead right into their existing bathroom as well. This will be kind of like the day area for volunteers and stuff. If they want to come into the station and be on duty, they can do that up here as well. And then a locker and changing area for the firefighters to keep a spare uniform as well.
One of the things we did want to, we're looking at getting the building more secure. What it is right now, people can just walk into any of the offices as they are. We're going to use the upstairs area where the Meals on Wheels did, in fact, reside, and it'll be a secure facility so people can come into the front as, you know, as a business.
We'll have a public entrance now that can greet anybody that comes in with a phone of some sorts, because we don't have a staff secretary that stays on duty. Something that can alert the members in the building that somebody is there and present in need of our assistance. This door will be secured, and then this door here will be secured, making this entire area to the right secured from the public, and this whole area to the left with public access. What this does is we're currently one of the only buildings in the municipality that somebody can just walk in freely, which is okay to a certain extent. We always want to have our doors open to the public, but with any threat or you know, today's trends in society, we want to make sure that we're at least secured to a point where we can have access to the public when they need us, but still feel
Are you saying
safe.
that somebody could walk in there and access that left side
No.
without anybody being there? Or do they have to
Yes.
call to get in?
This classroom portion, they can open as public area, so they don't have to be guided into this area.
No, what I'm saying is, can they get in that back door without calling in?
Yes, they can get into this vestibule area without calling in, currently as it sits.
And how are they secured then?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I
No.
don't see anything that secures that.
This door here secures, and this door here secures.
But that whole hallway's going to be open.
This whole hallway will be public. Back here, public will not have access
But
to.
the intention isn't to have the building open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day in that space.
Correct. That's correct.
I mean, that would be open during business hours.
Business hours.
Sort of like this building's open during business.
Exactly
Why-
right.
Why would someone need to go in there?
No one needs to go in there, and you could no doubt lock the doors into the conference room.
Yes.
The way we're set up now is, you know, we're downstairs of the, next to the truck bays.
Yeah.
There's no windows or anything. People walk in there, you know, they just walk right into the
I
door.
know, I've done that myself.
Right. It's just, you know,
You know, today was a prime example. We've got a piece of paper on the doors upstairs that says phone our main station number if you're here. With the 500 plus some car seats we did last year, more than half of them go to that entrance thinking that's our main entrance. We're able to guide them down below at that point in time and let them know where to come. So this will alleviate that problem.
I had a few questions. Related to that, are you thinking at all that you might rent that? It would become another space that people could rent as far as Township, as far as that particular side of the building?
we were hoping not to.
Is there a need for it?
There's a lot of need for meetings, particularly if you have a kitchen or if you have restrooms there. I mean, I don't know what volume the community, the library, or Michelle turns away. I'm just asking whether or not that's a potential. I mean, I understand the cost of this. I thought maybe we could get some money back.
Well, along with that, I mean, if that's the case, then you'd have to have staff, because to get to the kitchen, that's going to be a secured area. The restrooms will be available. You pretty much have to have, I would think, somebody let them in and out.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't
and
think it would
working
be a
through that.
lot of things, but it might be something to think about. Related to the other stairs, the upstairs, how many beds? It looks like there's 7 male and 2 female.
6 and 2. 1,
6
2,
and 2,
3,
okay.
4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And then the 2 female bunks as well. Yes.
Do you have that many people all the time?
It is anticipated that when we have a storm night or any kind of bunking night, we're guaranteed 2 people, at least, minimum 2 people. They could both be male, they could be male and female, and that's today as we sit. If we have a storm or some kind of upstaffing we're planning for, that number does grow to over 5. Currently, they sleep on couches or down at the second station and so forth.
So one of the things, like, we recently believed that we were going to have a weekend with severe flooding in town. One of the things that the chief then does is call back volunteers to find out whether or not they're available on an on-duty basis, and they stay in the station at that point instead of responding from home.
With the ice storms that we've had, I'm sorry, Chief, with the ice storms, the toughest part is actually getting people to the station. With the road conditions being adverse as they are, the best place to have them is inside the fire station, and it actually goes on to meet NFPA standards. If there's just a volunteer in the 4 walls of the fire station, they count as an on-duty number, and it reduces our staffing number, or actually increases our staffing number as far as people on duty, just by having them in the building. So having things like a fitness center, the volunteer on duty office where people can work from home out of, that person now counts as on duty and helps our NFPA and ISO numbers as well. Sorry, Chief.
One thing I did want to mention is, part of this project, there's a generator to run the building, an emergency generator. And we've been talking back and forth to Ryan, and I think they made that part of this, of this project. And one of the things, we did have that approved 3 or 4 years ago for $30-some thousand, I believe the number was, that is now going to get rolled into this project on top of it. So that was something I wanted to bring up, that we had prior talked about this generator, and it was approved, but then we put it off because of this project coming up. So that is also going to be part of this.
And the other aspect of the project that we're going to bid at the same time is that we have received a grant for a cardboard compactor to be located at the fire station, and we're going to roll that into this too, because the electrical service for it's going to come out of the enhanced electrical service that the Meals on Wheels program had put in. So,
but I just wanted you to be aware that that was part of that too, that was a prior project that was deferred. So that's going to be included in on this.
So this has all been approved already, right?
it's going to go out to bid. You'll get a chance to approve and award the bid when the bid comes in.
They're going to have to make a beer thing on there, according to the recycling compact.
One last question.
Yes.
We talked a while back about the HVAC and the roof and some of the other things. To what degree is that all going to be able to stay as is or be used as is?
We're trying to use as much as possible. There will be some duct work needed to be rearranged, but for the most part, we're trying to use as much of the infrastructure that's there now for this project. So I don't think you're really going to see a large number as far as the mechanicals. There's not a lot of changes that I can see on that.
The one thing that they're going to take a bid on, when the architect met with his engineer has concerns about the condition of some of the ductwork in the building, and they're going to bid that as an alternate so that we can make a determination at that time.
But they were talking about using flexible duct though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think some of the sizes needed to change because some of the sizes of the offices would change, and ceiling height plays into effect of that as well. Then,
trying to keep as much as intact as what is operational now.
As an example for the public, are we sprinklering this building or not?
The answer to that would be no.
this building does have a portion of it sprinklered. That's the garage bay.
Yes.
It's required to be sprinklered, and there's required to be fire separations from the garage bay to the living quarters level by 2 doors, fire-rated doors, and the concrete floor that's above it. And then the building will feature a fully updated fire alarm panel.
But the size of the building does not require that it be sprinkled, and so this building will not.
Yeah, I think the business office use area was like 5,000 square feet.
Yeah. But like you said, the largest portion of the building is already sprinkled, the garage of the apparatus.
Above the garage.
That's correct. That's the addition that was put on in
I'm
'96.
scratching my head here trying to think of 2 means of egress out.
There's a fire escape off the back side,
Right here.
That's over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the interior.
As you pull into that building parking lot on the, if you were facing it from East Vicksburg Road on the right-hand side, the first thing you see is a metal fire escape that sits on that one side.
Okay?
Thank you
Anyone else
for the
have any
update.
other
Thank you.
comments? Thanks, Chief. All right, next item on the agenda is audience comments. This is a portion of the agenda where anyone in the audience can talk about a non-agenda item. Do we have anyone that would like to take that opportunity? Seeing none, next we move to unfinished business, and that will be an appointment of an alternate member to the zoning hearing board.
At the last meeting, council had tabled action on this, requesting that that we do some additional research into background information. We did that. I think there's nothing that would disqualify either candidate from serving on the board, so it really is council's decision as to what they would like to do.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Alex O'Neill as the appointee for the zoning hearing board as an alternate.
I'll second.
Any other nominations, any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That carries 6-0. Next to new business, approval of Venetia Point revised 2018 final plan is shown on drawings prepared by Cobalt Professional Services, Inc., dated February 1st, 2018 for Venetia Point Homeowners Association, Inc.
Council should be very familiar with this plan. It got started in 2007. The plan tonight is the 2018 final plan. What this plan does, that's on your agenda tonight, is creates these 3 lots right here for the 3 townhouse units currently under construction at that location. The existing 14 townhouse units that are built in the development are all sit on similar sized lots. At one point in time, I think it was in 2014, all 33 of these lots were recorded, but it became a tax burden for the Marty brothers, and we chose, and it came to council. We allowed them to eliminate those lots, and what they're doing now is when they're ready to build townhouse units, they're coming in with the plans to record the lots for those units. So this plan simply is the creation of these 3 lots, and Planning Commission did review it at their February 14, 2018 meeting and recommended council approve it, subject to those 3 conditions listed in my memo to council.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Venetia Point revised 2018 final plan, subject to the conditions set forth in the Planning Commission memo dated March 5th, 2018.
Second. Any further comments?
I had one question for Mr. Smith. In the body of the information, it said that the property has been conveyed to the homeowners association. It was my understanding that that normally doesn't happen until 75% of the properties are sold.
That's in the statute. I don't know, did I read this HOA one?
Now, this was created in 2007.
Yeah, so Ed and I just did another one where we looked at that, although there are provisions that you can have it earlier than 75%, and I can't think of, but they are in the statutory section of the Pennsylvania law. Frank, do you recall what those might be or no?
As I recall, it is, you have to have 75, but it has to be 75% or it has to be within 10 years, whichever comes first.
Right, and there's other provisions. If there's certain lots are sold, and I think what the 75% does is eliminates the builders or starts to whittle away his power on that board. And when we just did one, Ed and I, we carved that back because they had the 75% throughout. And I forget what section of the statute, I think it's section D, actually serves to modify that 75%.
The reason I'm asking is, as Mr. Zook put it out, it's been 10, almost 11 years since this has been going on, and they don't have 75% built. So I wondered what liability the homeowners association was assuming for all the property that wasn't developed. And just as just a question to sort of...
Yeah, and I can look at that, but I imagine if it's written the way we typically see them, then the members of the HOA are still just a developer right now, most likely. Is that what, you know that?
I think so.
Yeah, so right now, before they would turn that over, the developer has that liability as the HOA board.
How many lots are built or sold?
14.
How many?
14.
And how many are
14 out of
sold?
33.
I think all 14 units that are built are
And you got
occupied.
three more that are in the being built, right?
Yeah, what was
So
interesting.
That's way more than 7.
Right, I was just thinking that, Mr. Arcuri. What's interesting is because when we took away all those lots by way of re-subdividing, what did that do to that old HOA agreement and the statute for the 75% as to whether they need to start putting these members on the board if they want it?
Right. I think they already have it. And
Why
then if
don't-
they build new houses, new townhomes, they're all going to be new, so they're going to never get below 75%.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if they
interesting.
have to redo it, but it seems to me that they...
No, I have a sensitivity about homeowners association, so that's why I asked the question. I want, just so that I understand what the status of it is. Again, it's been 11 years that this is still not done.
Right, and the more recent ones, we're reviewing those now and working with the developers to edit those. We've made some changes. This older one I've not seen, but the point by Mr. Arcuri is well taken. Right now, it's 100% of the units are
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you. I didn't mean to move the vote. I just wanted to clarify. Thank
We
you.
have a motion?
We do.
There was motion and a second.
All right.
So we just need to vote.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. 6-0. Next on the agenda, approval of Hamlet Phase 6 final plan is shown on drawing prepared by Wind Ridge Engineering Company dated November 8, 2017 for Benjamin Marcus Homes LLC.
Again, this is a plan that council should be familiar with. Council, you approved this preliminary plan on August 14, 2017. It's a 16-lot total development. It's in the conservation residential overlay. The developer, Benjamin Marcus Homes, is taking advantage of the CR overlay. They are setting aside close to 40% of the entire site will be set aside as open space. The open space is going to be dedicated to the Hamlet of Springdale HOA. Plans have been reviewed and approved by our Township Gateway engineers, and planning modules are already approved on this. This is in the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority watershed, so hopefully Mr. Hoskins, Benjamin Marcus Homes will be able to get some taps here soon. Peters Creek Sanitary Authority is still reviewing the final set of sanitary sewer construction drawings, so that's a pending condition. Planning Commission did review this plan at their November 9, 2017 meeting and did recommend council approve the plan subject to those 10 conditions.
Mr. Suk, will you remind us why the Park and Rec Department waived having open space?
There was no facility or common open space already dedicated to the township in this area. So if there were open space that was public that the township could attach this open space to, we would have. It's just an isolated area of open space within a neighborhood. Michelle thought that it would be wise to let them consider dedicating it to the HOA.
And I got to tell you, going forward, we've got to be careful about this. As we all know, with the problem we're having with trees as a result of the elm board, it is maintaining these sites, which used to be not requiring any attention from the township, suddenly is not only requiring attention, but the expenditure of a fair amount of money as we go in and remove dead ash trees out of these sites. So.
But of course, that'll be a temporary cost because they're all going to be down in the next 2 years anyway.
Yeah, but the number of these small open space sites we own in town is really rather enormous. So.
Well, I was asking in the context of the fact that we normally ask that developers provide some recreation space, and I just wondered, in the past, if I remember, people had to pay in lieu of, some kind of money in lieu of, and I didn't know what the plan was. If there's no space, I appreciate that that would be difficult for us to maintain it, but I just wondered, given, again, the idea that we try to put some recreational facilities out in the new developments.
Right, and doesn't preclude the HOA or the developer from putting some amenities in these open space areas. They can never be developed. There's common open space forever.
Back in the 70s, when I was on the Planning Commission, we went through a sweep of the township on little parcels of open space, if you recall. We had, I can't even tell you how many of them.
Yes.
And because they were a nuisance, you know, and I think we got rid of some of them and combined some of them and so forth. But I mean, just be careful when we, have all of these little spaces.
And I agree with you, that's not the reason, but I do know that one of the overriding tenets of our comprehensive plan was to have nice amenities and recreation. So I was asking how that...
Yeah, and we're doing it in a much better fashion this time, because before it was just simply acreage. It wasn't usable. It was junk. Yeah. But, it's still, the concept of putting recreational stuff on them is yet to see the light of day.
Yeah, what's the topography of this open space?
It's in a bowl.
Is it
Well, typical Western Pennsylvania topography.
So it's
that open space in the middle.
Less than 45 degrees.
So it's the least buildable portion of the site, right?
Actually, I have to commend the developer here. This is prime buildable land right here that's going to be set aside as open space. It's close to 4 acres. It's not severely sloped, but it provides a nice opportunity for potential amenity. It also buffers the new neighborhood from the existing neighborhood.
It's actually better land than some of the
lots
that are there. I mean, it's not bad at all. We're going to clean it up and get the...
Okay, Mark, if you're going to say something, you got to come up. Otherwise, keep quiet.
Mark Hoskins, the developer. Yeah, so it's actually really nice land, and we're going to thin it out, and the trees that are dead and falling down, try to clean it up, going to seed it, and then hopefully get together with the HOA, which we've already turned over to a management company, which we do right off the bat, keep neighbors, and friends. And we're going to try to do something with it. Just going to get some input from the community. We have some cash in the HOA, and maybe put some playground equipment and some different things in there. We're going to do a little storage building in there for the HOA to keep its wreaths and decorations and mowing equipment and things like that. So it's actually pretty darn nice land. It's probably the better part of it in there.
Thanks for explaining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Did you get any taps? No. Are they still working on that? Nothing. He says nothing about it.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the Hamlet Phase 6 final plan, subject to the conditions set forth in the Planning Commission memo.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And I have one abstention, Mr. Arcuri, so that's 5-0-1.
And what are the status of these taps? I mean, I thought when we signed that document at the last meeting, that the taps were going to be flowing, no money.
There is still one municipality that needs to take action on that agreement. And
I thought we were the last one.
I believe we were to be the last one too, but my understanding is that, I think it's Union Township, but I'm not sure, that has not provided that letter.
Do you know when that's coming?
I have no idea.
Could be a big in.
We'll have to give them a phone call.
All right, next item on the agenda is to authorize the appropriate township official to sign an agreement with Sartori Enterprises 1 LP regarding the refund of traffic impact fees.
It's been a long history with Primrose Development, but as you will recall, the township required that a traffic signal be installed at Galley and East McMurray Road. When that was submitted to PennDOT, PennDOT turned down the application, indicating that there needed to be turning lanes constructed. And at that point in time, under the agreement we have with Primrose, we could no longer require that intersection be improved in that fashion. But what we could do is require the Primrose pay its traffic impact fee. And in pursuing this, Primrose had to expend funds to get easements to be able to put a traffic signal in there. Those easements are in the name of the township and will be available to the township when the traffic signal finally is installed there. They also had some engineering expense for which they wanted to be reimbursed. So back in November of last year, council authorized the township manager and solicitor to negotiate an agreement with the developer for the purposes of refunding a portion of the funds, $26,400, in exchange for retaining $185,658 and the developer waiving his right to appeal that amount at some later date based upon the traffic study. It took us a while to come to a common understanding of the language of that agreement. The agreement has been reviewed by the solicitor, and it's my recommendation that we enter into that agreement.
Okay.
We authorize appropriate township officials to sign the agreement with Sectori Enterprises regarding the refund of traffic impact fees.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So I have a question. Is this agreement now null and void that we entered into?
The previous agreement?
Yeah.
I would assume so because...
It will.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. I'm not sure that it's null and void because what the agreement says is if you can't get a permit to build this intersection, you must pay the traffic impact fee. So
I think what we've acknowledged is that part is done. We start clear that they can't get the permit. So their obligations to do that under the agreement are over. And we've now, I guess, we've modified it.
All right.
Related to that question, in the body of the letter from to Mr. Mudry, it talks about further analysis of the intersection, a right turn lane to Galley Road. Now, I understand that we own the right-of-way that Sartori acquired. Will we need to get a right-of-way from them for a right turn lane if in fact that's required?
We would not need it from Primrose. We would need it from the property owner to the east. That would be Dave Wiley.
A right turn onto Galley.
Does it say
It
Galley?
says the last sentence in the second paragraph.
Can you read that?
However, further analysis of this intersection revealed that the level of service on Galley Road can be improved by adding a right turn lane to Galley Road.
Yes.
So are they talking about?
That's a right turning as you would come up Galley and turn right onto Waterdale.
Okay.
And the property owner over there is not Primrose, it's another property owner.
Okay.
That property owner has agreed to provide that right of way to the township. We just need to work on that.
Yeah.
Someday we'll get there.
Yeah, but what you're going to see come at the next meeting, though, is a revised site plan that limits access to this site to right turns in and right turns out.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 6-0. Next is to authorize the township manager to negotiate a contract with Traffic Planning and Design, Inc. for traffic signal improvements.
So as we had explained to council, because there is state funds involved in this project, we need to follow their procedure for acquiring the services of design professionals. Under their process, we need to take proposals and select someone strictly based upon qualifications and not on and at the point in time when we identify that firm, we then enter into a negotiation to determine what the price is. So we're in an odd situation where we can't tell you what the price will be or whether or not we'll be able to negotiate a contract with the consultant. But having said that, it's my recommendation and Mr. Zemedis' recommendation that we negotiate a contract with traffic planning to design for the signal improvements. Because they're the traffic engineer, because they were involved in the drafting of this grant application, they are uniquely qualified and certainly have sufficient experience to be able to undertake this kind of project.
Okay.
I move we authorize the appropriate township official to negotiate a contract with traffic planning and design for traffic signal improvements with the Green Light Go grant award.
I'll second. Now, in this whole design, seems like we're restructuring this, and yet the intersection of Thomas and East McMurray Road, we have now put the little do not blocks sign painted on. No one pays attention to them. Very few people. And I'm wondering at this juncture why we wouldn't put a right turn, a turning lane there as well, since it would just move traffic a lot faster and perhaps keep the backup from occurring at that entrance to the parking lot.
Well, what we can do is once we have someone under contract to design this, to ask them to look at that to find out what the expenses that's associated with that and whether or not it's feasible to do. But I would agree with you. I think just putting a light in is
without the turning lane.
It won't accomplish what we hope it would.
And I mean that trail parking lot is heavily used.
Yes.
And since people don't pay attention, I don't know what other, you might need fireworks or something there to make people not stop in front of that entrance. But what happens is if someone wants to make a left into that parking lot and it's busy, the traffic backs up onto East McMurray Road. So it's not been very efficient. And I don't know, I just think a turning lane would help alleviate some of that.
We agree with Mr. Brookings.
I'm not sure it will, but I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're going to have two lanes of traffic, and somebody's trying to turn across two lanes.
Good point.
You know?
But let's, when we get to the point, because we're going to negotiate a contract. This is coming back to the council to award that contract, and the design of the intersection won't begin until it's done.
I've already talked with Mike Mundry about that. This whole intersection, we want to look at its functionality, not just the traffic lights, because that is a long-standing problem of that trail parking being blocked, and there's some sight distance issues with respect to the bridge and our preemption device down there at the other signal. So there's a whole host of issues that we're going to try to wrap into this.
I mean, the entrance was, further up.
That's
it would
what we were
alleviate
thinking.
Some of that back.
I think your best bang for the buck there would be if we could move the driveway further away from the intersection.
Right.
I just don't know where Columbia Gas's piece falls in, and, we'll look at all that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. And that sounds like 6-0. Finally, last item under new business, award of a bid for the 2018 Detention Pond Rehabilitation Project.
I'm going to turn this over to Mark.
I can handle this one. So a week ago today, we opened bids for the 2018 detention pond rehabilitations. We haven't done any pond rehabs for a few years, so we wanted to do 6 ponds this year. We had 4 in the base bid and 2 ad alternates. We budgeted $60,000 for this year. We opened bids. We got a plethora of bids, as we usually do when we publicly bid these ponds. So Suffice it to say, the low bidder was LM&R Excavating. The total price of their bid, including the alternates, is $45,700, which is within our budget. We've never worked with them before, but I did call references. They checked out. They're bonded. They signed their bid. I spoke to them personally, reviewed their equipment and similar projects, and I feel that they can definitely do the job. So it's my recommendation that we award both the base bid and the two alternates to LM&R Excavating for $45,700.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. 6-0. Next item is payroll and bills.
Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed the payroll and bills. I find them to be in order. I make a motion that we approve the payroll and bills.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 6-0. Correspondence, does not appear to be any items of note. Any discussion on any of the minutes from the various boards?
I did ask that in executive session, we talk a little bit about the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority minutes.
Okay. Nothing under miscellaneous?
Oh, actually, something under miscellaneous. The school district construction manager met with us. They were asking whether or not we could accommodate on the one of the parking lots on our side of the property, their construction trailers during construction. I do not believe that in the period of time that the building will be under construction, that will in any way interfere with our development of the property. So, it'd be my recommendation that we grant them permission to be on that site at that location. So that's up to council.
I don't see any problem with it.
The parking.
We weren't going to charge them anything. If you charge them, the school district will pay it because it's going to come back through the bid that way.
I would just want to see that if there's any sort of insurance, depending on who's going to be there, if there's going to be trailers, people working there, if they get hurt on our side of the ledger.
Oh, that sounds reasonable.
What kind of construction's going on? Is that main road going to be open?
The main roads may well go under construction while the building is under construction, but we can coordinate that in such a way that the two won't interfere with each other.
Well, I think it would be fine, personally. Do you need a motion?
No problem.
I think they need to have insurance and indemnify the
Right.
If you want to make that a part of the motion, I think that would be fine.
So you need a motion?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I move that we allow the construction manager for the school district to utilize the parking lot as long as they provide certificate of insurance that indemnifies the township.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 6-0. Any items for the next agenda? Monica?
Before we move off of miscellaneous, since you were talking about that, did we get bids for demolition of the building shed?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, I had two other things. The GIS person, could you give us an update on that next meeting?
He may well be employed by that point in time. We have an offer out to someone. I think it would be an excellent candidate, and we're waiting to get confirmation he's accepting the position.
And the last thing, more trees, Mr. Berquist. Over at the entrance of Boyer Road near Beebout, I sent an email to Mr. Lauer about that. There's two pretty large trees laying on those lines.
Okay.
I don't know whose property, if it's that homeowner's or if it's Colin's property.
Is that the thing between the Little Road and that?
Right, coming off of Bower Hill, just before Boyer, you can see that.
And just one of the things that we want to find out, and we're going to find out because we've now cited the people on the trees down here along Valley Brook Road, is to what extent we're going to have the ability to force the utility companies and the landowners to do something about those trees. So we're going to push this one to find out whether or not that actually is a process that'll work for us.
Thank you.
But to St. Petersburg, we're still no further
We got some information in today concerning the easement that's been asserted by Mr. Courtney. Mr. Smith is looking at that to find out whether or not it will have any impact on the development. He's been notified that the building needs to be flood-proof. Apparently, he's prepared to do that.
And we're going to get proof of financial.
He's in the process of submitting a site plan for review. Part of that's going to be a requirement that he shows us that he has the financial capacity to do the job.
Yeah, per the ordinance.
Can you give me an update? What was the easement issue? I can't remember. Was there?
If you look at the area where the building is located,
You mean the one that's not completed?
the one that's not completed. When he submitted a very rough site plan, he showed parking on the property that is owned by the township. And what he has asserted is that the prior owner had an agreement with the railroad company that permitted use of that land. And when I read that agreement, I would agree with him, that's what it says. But what it also does not, it is not clear, and that's why Mr. Smith needs to take a look at it. It's not clear to me that it runs with the land. And beyond that, if it does run with the land, there's a 30-day written cancellation. And it would seem to me that if the easement ran with the land, that ability to cancel the agreement runs with the land as well.
Is it found a record?
I don't know that.
I received a copy this afternoon. That's the question I asked. I don't think it's recorded. So
And it binds the heir successors and assigns?
it has some of that language, but it doesn't look like it runs with the land.
Oh, yeah, if it doesn't say that it runs with the land, that's
Right. And it's
that's the end of the inquiry.
How can it run with the
Well, that's what I was
Wow.
thinking too.
Yeah.
So we're
Right. Right.
Doesn't sound exactly
Right.
that's what we're looking at. We don't believe that the easement exists, but
Although, wouldn't it be funny if you did have a 30-day out and said it ran with the land? Wouldn't that's like a law school, that's a bar exam question.
Yeah, well, I don't want to take it against it. That's the way it is. Yeah,
Understanding construction projects and storage of materials and people liking to borrow earth from one location or stockpiling earth. Have we had any understanding with this proposed school development as to
They have
they
asked.
stay off of our land?
Well, they have excess material, and they asked us whether or not that was needed on our site. And actually, I think not only is it not needed, it may well be that the roadway itself has some excess materials. One of the things that Mackin Engineers cautioned us against was stockpiling excess soil on the property, because they worked hard to maintain the existing trees and contours, and they're concerned that if we compact that, we could lose the trees and lose some of the turf. So we've suggested to the school district that we're not going to be the solution for that problem, that they need to find a different solution.
Well, and it's also the storage of materials. They're going to run out of space for it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Before you hit that hammer, I wanted to thank Ryan. Ryan prepared the docket this week. As you well know, I was out last week. And maybe we should have Ryan do this in the future, because he's got a meeting that runs a lot quicker than my meetings. So, but I wanted to thank him.
All right. Anything else? This meeting is adjourned. We have executive session.